Yesterday, Team USA looked good against South Sudan. They changed up the lineup. They did seem to, I don't care what Steve Kerr says about Jayson Tatum starting. I can't imagine that was originally the plan. I can't. I could be wrong, but to go from not playing to starting, that seems a lot. Did I think he'd play? Yes. I think that was all the complaining. He was like, fine, we'll start him. He didn't play particularly well. There's a world there where people start to understand what makes you a great NBA player does not necessarily make you a great international player. It just doesn't. And how you fit with the group. But the matchups had them playing smaller for a good portion of time. And then when South Sudan went small, they threw the ball inside to Bam and to Anthony Davis. And they, for the most part, kept South Sudan out, 20 points away. They didn't cover. I told everybody I knew, I don't bet, but that spread 29 seemed too high. Here was Steve Kerr's explanation for Embiid's. Oh, sorry. Steve Kerr said that he didn't play against South Sudan because the USA won a better matchup with their team speed. And Kerr's going to start LeBron, Steph Curry, Devin Booker, Drew Holiday, and Embiid against Puerto Rico. And remember, Jayson Tatum, after yesterday's game, said, hey, this has definitely been a humbling experience, right? And he said that not about playing and scoring 4 points against South Sudan, but not playing at all against Serbia. He said, quote, win a championship, new contract, cover of 2K, and then you sit the whole game, cover of Sports Illustrated, so it's definitely humbling. I'm just going to tell you right now, how it reads to me, I'm sitting here as a coach, and I'll tell you, Jayson Tatum seems like a colossal pain in the ass. When Jaylen Brown wasn't named to the team as a replacement, all he said as Jaylen Brown's teammate, and Jaylen Brown played great in the NBA Finals, was a lot of guys want to get in. And now, instead of saying, hey, I don't care if I play a minute or if I play the whole game, I just want to win. He's like, yeah, I got all this stuff. It's humbling. It's not humbling. You have not been humbled. Because then you read off some sort of resume like any of us give a crap. Right? Tell me if this sounds humble to you. Win a championship, new cover of a new contract, cover of 2K, NBA 2K, cover of Sports Illustrated. It was definitely a humbling experience. That's not humbling. You have not been humbled. Not at all. And oh yeah, by the way, Jayson Tatum, NBA Finals, how'd that work out for you? 21 a game was fine. 7 rebounds a game was fine. But didn't shoot a great percentage. Didn't play great. And oh yeah, by the way, this is not the NBA. Right? Not the NBA. Ja Morant would be a terrible, terrible pick to be on USA Basketball. Ja Morant is a dynamic player when healthy. Dynamic. So, I do think that this is part of Kerr's plan, right? Is completely rotate based upon team. Sometimes you don't play guys. The issue is which guys get it, which guys don't. And this is why some guys weren't selected. I mean, look, Steph Curry's not played particularly well, and he's not playing a ton. And the logic behind it is he's not. This is a different game. It's way more physical, harder for him to get a shot off, and much harder for him to guard. Yes, Jason Stewart. Yes.
Hey, Doug, I think it's appropriate that we roll this in.
There's a question that needs an answer.
And the answer is...
if only there was someone with the authority and the wisdom to give us that answer.
No, I'm the head coach. I get to set the schedule.
Hold on. Let's ask the coach.
Hey, Doug.
Yep.
So, don't you think that it would have been...
That's not how the question's asked. If you say, don't you think, you're leading me. What's the question?
Oh, okay. Well,
Hold on.
What should I say?
Hold on.
How did this get to the point where Steve Kerr says after game one that he felt like an idiot for not playing Jayson Tatum? Why hasn't all of this been communicated to each player?
It was.
Tatum, you're not going to play game one, and B, you're not going to play game two.
It was. Go back to the quote game one. He said, we talked about this with Jayson, that this might happen. He absolutely did. Not a surprise to Jayson Tatum. Wasn't a surprise to Joel Embiid last night.
Then why did it feel like an idiot?
Can we play the whole cut? Okay, play the whole cut. Because I think what he's saying is like, hey, you feel like an idiot not playing the guy, but you had a plan and the plan clearly worked. Because if you don't know anything about actual working 40 minutes, working in everybody, the game plan, you're like, hey, we're not going to play Jayson Tatum. I'd be like, take a listen, because in out of context, it sounds like he's questioned himself. Here's the entire cut.
It's tough, but Jayson handled it really well. I talked to him today before the game that it may play out this way, just with Kevin coming back and the lineups that I wanted to get to. But that'll change. Jayson's going to play. Every game's going to be different based on matchups. He's a total pro. He's first team All-NBA 3 years in a row. I felt like an idiot not playing him, but in a 40-minute game, you can't play more than 10. You really can't. And so I think he's an amazing guy, great player, and handled it beautifully. And he'll be back out there next game.
Yeah. So I think you're taking that as he felt like an idiot, like admitting mistake. Whereas I think what he meant is, he's first team All NBA 3 years in a row. I'm not going to play him, but so you feel like an idiot. But the truth is, like, okay, this is the plan we had. It ended up working. And again, because Kevin Durant played the perfect game in the first half, you're like, I'm going to go back to Kevin Durant early in the second half, which they did.
Well, you're right. The comment in full context completely explains it. It's just that idiot line, I think, has gotten him in trouble ever since he said it. And people, obviously, if they haven't been listening to the full quote in context, or what? Because they took that and ran with it. Like Stephen A. did like 20 straight minutes of ranting on his podcast about
Stephen A. took something out of context and used it. That's stunning. I thought he was a journalist, right? When he told Dan Le Batard he's a journalist. Yes.
Wow.
I'm just trying to express to you. This coaching is hard. It's not easy, and a good portion of coaching in the NBA is massaging egos and figuring out a way to make it work. And I mean, it's pretty obvious that he's committed to this. I'm going to sit a guy or two a game so I don't have to play 12. If you play 12, everybody's unhappy. It's just not enough minutes. Let's get you Dan Byer, get a quick update on everything going on in sports. DB, what do you got?
Doug, we start with news in the National Football League, where the Chargers have announced that quarterback Justin Herbert will be in a walking boot for the next 2 weeks because of a plantar fascia injury in his right foot. The Chargers' expectation is that Herbert will be ready for week 1 of the regular season against the Raiders. Week 1 of the preseason kind of starts tonight. It's the only game in town in Canton, Ohio. Hall of Fame game. Bears and Texans kick off the preseason. No Caleb Williams tonight for Chicago. Buccaneers tackle Tristan Wirfs signed a 5-year extension worth $140 million, making him the highest-paid offensive lineman in the NFL, while Browns running back Dante Foreman is expected to be released from the hospital later today after suffering a neck injury in practice this morning. Another gold for Simone Biles. The American gymnast captured gold in the women's all-around, becoming the first woman in almost 60 years to win 2 Olympic all-around titles in her career. Fellow American Suni Lee took home the bronze. Women's basketball right now, 3 minutes to go until halftime. Team USA leads Belgium 44-31. In tennis, Carlos Alcaraz topped American Tommy Paul to advance to the semifinals. Also advancing to the semis, Serbia's Novak Djokovic. Japan's Hideki Matsuyama leads after the first round in men's golf at 8 under par. Xander Schauffele is 2 shots back at 6 under. In swimming, American Kate Douglas just took home gold in the 200-meter breaststroke. Finally, in the NBA, veteran forward Gordon Hayward announced he is retiring after a 14-year career.